Welcome back to the channel. My name is Derek Coffey and I'm the founder of FWP. And if 2025 is the year that you have committed to being financially independent, then it's probably a good idea to know what paths there are that you can take. Now, if you research financial independence, you're most likely going to see the terms retire early attached to it. The issue with this is the returns you're going to receive, the articles and the videos, are all going to show you the extreme scenarios where you work for 10 or 15 years, you live as frugally as you possibly can. That way you can save 50 to 70% of your gross income, all in hopes of retiring early. Now, early retirement isn't the right answer for everyone. Some people feel like they have more to give the world than just working for 20 years and then calling it quits. I personally am in that boat. And I also don't want to cut my spending to a point of misery. I want to enjoy my life now as well as in retirement. Well, luckily for us, there are options. In this video, we're going to get into those 5 options. Some of them are the extremes. Some of them focus a little bit more on financial independence as opposed to retiring early. But that final one, that's the one I'm working towards. Stay tuned. Before we dive into those 5 specific paths that you could take towards financial independence, we need to understand the 3 components that come along with it. Component number 1 is having a high savings rate. 5, 10, even 15% just isn't going to cut it, especially if you want to retire earlier than maybe age 60 or 65. For some of these FIRE options, your savings rate should probably be around 50%, but with the cost of living being what it is, 50% is just unrealistic. If you're able to carve out 20 or even 30% of your income to save towards financial independence, then it makes all 5 of these paths still viable. It's just not going to happen as quickly. The second pillar of financial independence is being a minimalist, living on as little as you possibly can. Now, not necessarily to the point of misery, but just make sound financial decisions along this journey. The third and final component is investing in low-cost index funds. Low-cost index funds are available to the masses at this point. All 401k plans have them. You can get them through Schwab, Fidelity, or any brokerage company you want to work with. But investing in a broad-based index fund keeps your investment simple, and it almost guarantees you that you're going to keep up with that index. Of course, you could invest in individual stocks, and you might hit a home run every now and again, but over the long term, you're most likely going to lag whatever the index is doing. But understanding these 3 components and embracing them as part of your financial plan is what's going to keep you on that path to financial independence. The first path you can take is slow FIRE, or slow financial independence. And for most people, this is the route that you're going to take. You're going to save a decent amount of your income over a 25, 30, or 35-year time frame, and you're going to build up a nest egg that you can retire once you hit 60 or 65 years old. Now, the thing that I love about slow FI is it allows for balance. If you don't want to live that miserably frugal lifestyle and you want to enjoy your money, then slow-fi is the option for you. If you can set aside 20 or 30% of your income, then you could still retire early. You could hit retirement at 55 or 60 years old with no problem. But with slow-fi, we're still focusing on being a minimalist. We're still going to focus on making sound financial decisions, but along this journey, we're going to reward ourselves. And what I mean by rewarding yourself is that when you hit certain milestones, like paying off a car loan or paying off a credit card, I want you to enjoy some of the money you were putting towards those debts. Take half of it, add it to your savings. Take the other half and add it to your miscellaneous spending. This creates the balance that you need in your life. This creates the balance you need to hit financial independence over the long haul. So if we break slow FIRE down by the numbers, you can see how it can bring balance to your life. You can still enjoy the money that you're making, but also ensure that you're going to hit your retirement number. Now, speaking of retirement numbers, the first thing we need to understand is, what are your anticipated living expenses going to be? What is your income need going to be in retirement? Well, if you say, hey, I need $50,000 in retirement, that way I can live comfortably, you're going to need a nest egg of $1.25 million to safely withdraw that $50,000 of income. If your household brings in $100,000 and you're able to save 25% of that, you're going to hit financial independence in roughly 22 years. So, no, this isn't going to be as fast as some of the other options, but if you start doing this when you're 25 or 30 years old, by the time you hit 55, you have enough money set aside that you can stop working if you want to. So, with Slow Fire, the goal is balance. Yes, you're going to set aside the money you need, you're going to hit the number that you want to hit, but you're going to be able to enjoy your life while you're working. You're not going to resent the fact that you're saving as much money as you are. So if you want that balance, if you're not looking to go to the extreme of some of the other options, then Slow Fire is the right option for you. The second path you can take is Lean Fire. With Lean Fire, this is going to be the cheapest option and most likely the quickest option that's available to you, especially if you want to retire early. With Lean Fire, we're focused on minimalism now and in retirement. If you're fine with living as frugally as you possibly can now, as well as in retirement, then this is going to be the right option for you. Yes, it's going to require a significant amount of savings. The higher that savings rate, the quicker this is going to occur. But because your income need is so much lower, your financial independence number is much less. So if we break Lean Fire down by the numbers, we can see how it's the cheapest and the quickest way for you to retire early. If we assume that you need that $40,000 a year for your income, that's going to make your financial independence number $1 million. If we assume you're still bringing in that $100,000, but you're able to get that savings rate up to 50%, you're going to hit Lean Fire in approximately 13 years. If you only have to work 13 more years to build up a nest egg for you to fully retire, and you're perfectly fine with being minimalistic now and in retirement, then this is the right option for you. If you're not as intrigued about living a minimalist lifestyle in retirement like you were when you were working, then maybe you should look at the third option. The third path you could take is what is known as Fat Fire, and the difference here is there's a lot more income for you to enjoy in retirement than if you were to choose Lean Fire. With Fat Fire, depending on who you ask, the income need is going to be somewhere between $80,000 and $100,000 per year. That doubling of that income need is also going to require you to double the amount of money you have set aside. So if we break Fat Fire down by the numbers, you're going to realize that you still have to save a significant amount of money, but you also have to be a little bit more patient. So if we assume that you want to hit that $80,000 a year of income, and you're making the $100,000 a year, you're saving half of it, you're getting 7% as your average rate of return, it's going to take you approximately 20 years to hit your Fat Fire number. Now, what I want you to keep in mind is that this is only 7 years longer than your Lean Fire number. So if you're able to stick with your plan and you're willing to live that minimalist lifestyle for 7 more years, you can double the amount of income you're going to receive in your retirement. So the three paths that we've gone over so far have been all about retiring early. With Slow Fire, it's the normal path. With Lean Fire and Fat Fire, it's those extremes that we talked about earlier in the video. But for a lot of people, that's not how you want to live. For a lot of people, you may not even want to retire early. You may want to work and continue doing something fulfilling for the rest of your life, or at least well into your 60s. Well, if that's the case, then we're going to look at two other options. And these two options specifically focus more on financial independence. The first financial independence option is Barista Fire. Now, the reason that I say it focuses on financial independence is because you don't technically retire early. The goal of Barista Fire is to build your nest egg to a point that it replaces a certain percentage of your income need. So let's say that you needed $50,000 a year of income, but you want your investments to replace half of that. Well, if that's the case, your financial independence number or your Barista Fire number is $625,000. If you make the $100,000 a year, you save 50%, you get the 7% rate of return, it's going to take you approximately 9 years to hit your Barista Fire number. Once you hit that number, your only purpose in life is to go find a job that pays you the other $25,000 of income that you need. Barista Fire is perfect for people that work high-paying, high-stress jobs. You understand that the money is great and that saving as much of it as you possibly can is what's going to get you to financial independence, but you understand that you're not going to make it over the long term. You're just not going to be able to handle that stress for an extended period of time. With Barista Fire, you work that job, you live that minimalist lifestyle, and then when you hit your number, you quit the high-paying, high-stress job and find something else that's going to give you the work-life balance that you're looking for. The problem that I have with Barista Fire is that you can never truly retire. Unless you're able to get your true living expenses down to $25,000 per year, you're going to have to continue working in some capacity to pay your bills. With that being the case, one of the things that I would urge you to do if Barista Fire is the route you want to take is reduce the amount of income that comes out of your investment accounts. As opposed to pulling half of your income out of those accounts, maybe get it down to the 25% mark. Yes, it's going to require you to find a little bit better paying job, maybe even to a more full time capacity. But by reducing the amount of money that you're taking out of your investments, the more likely it is that you're going to actually be able to retire later on in life. So, the fifth and final path to financial independence that we're going to cover is my personal favorite, and it's called Coast Fire. Coast Fire is still financial independence focused. It's not necessarily focusing on retiring early, very much like Barista Fire. But the difference is that unlike Barista Fire, we're saving to a point and then we're letting compound interest and time take care of the rest. With Barista Fire, we were saving to a point that we could withdraw some of that money to replace our income. With Coast Fire, we're not going to withdraw anything at all. We're just going to let it sit there and let the investments do their thing. Now, calculating a Coast Fire number is well beyond my Excel capabilities. So what I did is I went out on the internet, found a website called walletburst.com, and they have a calculator that you can use. And I'll put a link to this website in the description of the video. But if we make all of the same assumptions, 100,000 a year, save half, get 7% as an average rate of return, we can figure out what our Coast Fire number needs to be. So for me, I'm 35 years old. I want to retire by 65. It may happen sooner, it may never happen, but right now I want to retire at 65. Now, if we assume that I had nothing saved for retirement at this point, but I was willing to set aside that 50%, then my Coast Fire number would be $385,398. That 7% rate of return is what's going to get it to the point that I can withdraw $50,000 a year of income to fill my income need. Now, based on this calculator, it's going to take me 10 years to hit Coast Fire. So what that means is from now until 10 years from now, I'm going to save that 50%. I'm going to live that minimalist lifestyle. But once I get to that $385,398, I don't have to put another penny towards retirement. The 7% and the 20 years that are left until I hit my retirement target are what's going to get me to that $1.25 million number. Now, the reason that Coast Fire is my personal favorite is because I believe it matches the pace of a normal person's life. Early on in your life, from the age of 20 to maybe 28 to 30 years old, it's just you. You might be married, but you probably don't have any kids yet. Well, if you're married and you and your spouse make really good money, then for those 10 years before you start building your family, you can save half of your income. Then, once those 10 years are over, you no longer have to save that half of your income into your retirement accounts, and instead you can focus on building your family and actually be able to afford it. If you don't want to build a family, you take that other half and you put it down on a home. You start hitting the milestones that you want to hit as an adult. So to me, Coast Fire matches the pace of the normal person's life. You save as much as you can while you're young, and then once you hit your number, you don't have to save anymore. Now, if you work at a job that offers a match on any type of 401k contribution, absolutely save enough to get that match. Don't leave that free money on the table. But you don't necessarily have to save any additional money towards your retirement because compound interest and time is going to take care of the rest. The path that you ultimately take to financial independence is going to be based on how much money you can save. If you're only able to set aside 5, 10, 15, even 20% of your gross income, then slow fi is going to be the right path for you. There's nothing wrong with that. It creates the most balance, at least when it comes to your finances and your overall life. But if you're able to put yourself in a position where you can save 30, 40, or even 50% of your gross income, that's what's going to open up the other 4 options. I want to thank you so much for tuning in. If this video or any of the other videos that I've put out has provided you value, then hit that subscribe button. If you know someone who is serious about getting on the path to financial independence, then send this video to them. That way they understand that there's options and it's not just a one-size-fits-all. But I want to thank you so much for tuning in. I'll talk to you soon.